Welcome to the gilded bridge of modern civilization. The air is filtered, the dashboards glow with rising stock tickers, and the captain reports that efficiency is at an all-time high. But down in the engine room, the mechanics see a different reality. We have entered the grinding moan phase of human history. That is the sound of a rigid industrial machine hitting hard physical limits, even as cultural dashboards falsely claim we are winning. This diagnostic gauge shows a state called ecological overshoot. Humanity is currently operating the system at 110% capacity, consuming 1.7 Earths per year. We are depleting the very soil and water that keep the engine running. Trusting the economic dashboard is a fatal error when the physical hull is already compromised. We are maintaining the illusion of progress by eating our seed corn to keep the lights on for another quarter. The captain promises infinite economic growth, yet the ship exists within a finite physical system. Mainstream solutions focus on technological efficiency, but that efficiency often masks a deeper mechanical failure. Despite our incredible digital and technological advancements, the physical engine of civilization is quietly starving. Software cannot replace the raw calories and energy required to sustain a global machine. To understand why our technology isn't saving us, we must abandon the passenger deck and examine the unbending laws of physics. The core mechanism driving this crisis is the Jevons paradox. This graph illustrates the paradox. Making a resource more efficient increases overall consumption. When engines get cheaper to run, we don't save fuel, we drive twice as far. This means green growth merely accelerates the burn rate of remaining fuel. Every major energy transition in history has followed this baseline. We have never actually replaced old fuel sources. We have simply added new ones to the total extraction pile to feed an expanding machine. Efficiency acts as an accelerator, driving the ship faster toward its physical limits. The true measure of our lifeblood is EROI, energy return on investment. A century ago, we lived in the era of easy oil. A tiny amount of energy effort yielded massive returns, which funded the complexity of our global world. Thermodynamics eventually catches up. We have exhausted the high-quality, easily accessible energy reserves. Today, we have to burn increasingly massive amounts of energy, represented by the large input box, just to acquire the next barrel. We are expending more effort to get a tiny fraction of the energy return we once enjoyed. As the return on energy falls, the system must start cannibalizing its own complexity, infrastructure, and communities just to maintain basic operations. The physics of energy extraction have reached inescapable diminishing returns. The global machine has begun to starve itself just to stay awake. Down in the engine room, the mechanics have reached the detection point, the moment where the physical math guarantees a crash, regardless of the captain's optimistic orders. A problem offers a technological solution, a patch or a repair. A predicament is a set of conditions we must learn to navigate. Ecological overshoot is a predicament driven by the laws of thermodynamics. Our attempts to innovate our way out of these physical limits have become futile. Accepting the laws of thermodynamics means accepting the end of the central engine. We must now adopt lifeboat logic, the immediate choice to stop trying to fix a doomed industrial system. This requires a structural shift. We are trading the massive, fragile Titanic for modular, localized schooners. A schooner represents low-energy, biologically grounded systems. It relies on the health of the local watershed and the resilience of the surrounding landscape. High-energy systems allowed us to replace local relationships with global supply chains. As that energy surplus vanishes, we have to rebuild the social chassis. Local interdependence becomes our primary survival technology. The physical crash is inevitable, and the time for debating the speed of the engine is over. Pick up a wrench, join the crew.
We have built our world on a high-stakes assumption that our industrial momentum is as unsinkable as the steel hulls we once set into the Atlantic. But the elephant in the room has grown too large to ignore, moving out of our private shadows and into the center of our lives. This is the meta-crisis, the tipping point where the stories of endless growth collide with the physical limits of our planet. It reduces us to passengers, waiting like roadkill on the side of a life we no longer control, paralyzed by the headlines, watching for the next wave to break. Yet when the ship finally cracks, the passenger's role ends, and the adventurer's begins. The very failure of the old world becomes a direct call to a planetary adventure. This is the invitation to step out of the heavy aura of the past and into the absolute power of the present moment. The Lifeboat Mini-Course is your immediate, structured transition, a free 5-day journey delivered to your inbox to transform global anxiety into local resilience. As the unsinkable systems fracture, we must stop asking for permission and start acting as co-creators of the cosmos, mapping a new way forward through our own backyards. Day 1 begins with an audit of the invisible, the energy and water systems you rely on every hour, yet rarely ever see. Day 2 forces a change in your geographical lens, challenging you to locate your true home within your watershed and local bioregion. You won't navigate this terrain alone. You will receive daily study guides and synthesized patterns designed to cut through the noise and reveal the architecture of change. Day 3 asks you to practice active hope in a world facing ecological overshoot. Day 4 introduces the demanding standard of revolutionary love. By tracing the water back to your neighbor's tap, you move beyond the narrow walls of self-help and into the expansive, interconnected practice of systems health. The climax arrives on Day 5 with the introduction of a specific framework for your future, the 9x21 harvest. You will commit to 9 concrete actions to be executed over the next 9 days, weeks, or years to build your cosmic legacy. You will then write the 7-generation letter, speaking across time to a resident of your town in the year 2026 to explain the uncommon choices you made today. This legacy is a unified dance, a work of restoration that cannot be built in isolation. Who is your mutual guiding spirit in this transition, and which 9 things will you choose to do? Stop waiting for the headlines to crush you. Sign up for the Lifeboat Mini-Course now. Access your Day 1 materials immediately and join the community hub where the next story of our world is already being written.
You can remain tied to the illusion of a collapsing global credit card, or take this course to begin building real systems health today. The Earth is tired of the lie. It is time to dance with the truth.